Hasbro ditches the Yellow Rangers for Lightning Collection. It's looking like an apocalyptic year for Marvel Legends. Mattel brings the anvil down on WWE. Funko shows the love for Rick and Morty. Diamond Select Toys brings us back to Thanos. And we're going Dookie for Dooku. Wait, what? Everybody, JC here with another TNI news video. Now, we had a lot of stuff going on this weekend. We had 2 European conventions taking place where Hasbro revealed a number of new product. Now, some of this stuff I talked about on Friday in Friday's news video. Hopefully you did check that out. And I will touch upon some of that stuff as well. But we got some additional reveals for Power Rangers, Marvel Legends, and Star Wars on Saturday. So I wanted to share that information with you guys. And then also this, just the past 24 hours, we got some additional information from Mattel for their WWE line. And then Funko announced some new Rick and Morty figures. And then I've also got a package here, which I'm going to open up, which I think some of you will find interesting. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, let's talk about Rick and Morty. So Funko announced a number of product, including pop vinyl figures, new pop vinyl figures. But the thing I wanted to touch upon today specifically were some new action figures. So they're doing both Rick and Morty, the Rick and Morty characters from the Cartoon Network animated series. And they are featuring spacesuits. And then there's also a Walmart exclusive version of both of these figures in metallic spacesuits. So I know Rick and Morty is pretty popular, at least it was. So I just want to pass that information on to you guys. I really like it when we see the action figures, not just the Funko Pop stuff. So definitely, you know, if you're a fan of the show, you'll want to check those out. Bandai America has announced 2 more waves for their Dragon Ball Dragon Stars line, the 6.5-inch scale figures that they've been doing. So for Wave 15, they're going to have 3 figures: Super Saiyan Gogeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta version 2, and Instinct Goku. And then for Wave 16, you've got 3 more figures, and that's going to include Cooler, Bardock, and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta version 2. Now, some of these look like are just primarily repaints, but it does seem like you've got a couple new characters here. I don't know how many people have been collecting the Bandai American version of the Dragon Ball figures, or if you're just sticking with the SH Figuarts stuff, but there are a few more waves coming, and they are up for pre-order now.
The pink and black is back, baby! And what kind of pain that might feel like.
And then for WWE, Mattel announced at the Ringside Fest 2019 event a bunch of new figures and released new images for the figures. And so I'm going to go down the list of everything they announced pretty quickly here. If you want to get a more detailed look at everything, go over to Toy News International. I will put a link in the video description below to that specific story. And again, they announced a lot of stuff. So for Elite Collection, they announced they're doing The Fiend Brian Wyatt. Then for Basic Series 103, they're doing AJ Styles, Becky Lynch. There's going to be a Chase variant of Becky Lynch in an orange shirt. We're getting Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston, and Matt Riddle. Then for Series 104, they're going to do Daniel Bryan, Keith Lee. Keith Lee will have a Chase variant in black shorts, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. For Battle Pack Series 63, we're going to get Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor and Big E versus Xavier Woods. For the Elite Collection Series 73, as a Target exclusive, we're getting Peyton Royce. And then for Elite Collection Series 74, we're getting AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Goldberg, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, which is a Walmart exclusive, Natalia, I think that's how you pronounce her name, I don't know, Lince Dorado, and then Lince Dorado with a gold mask Chase. I'm not familiar with those last 2 wrestlers. And then for the Elite Collection WWE Network Spotlight Series, there's going to be a new Kurt Angle, Woken Matt Hardy, Ricochet, and Wendy Richter. Then for the Elite Collection Royal Rumble Series, there's going to be Bobby Lashley, Lita, Macho King Randy Savage, and The Rock. Then for the Masters of the Universe mashup line Series 2, now these I've talked about before, but we're getting John Cena, Macho Man Randy Savage, Rey Mysterio, and Roman Reigns. Those were announced at PowerCon several months ago. And then for the Elite Collection early sneak peek, which is going to be a Ringside Collectibles exclusive, there's going to be Sasha Banks, And then for the Ultimate Edition line, we're getting Brock Lesnar and a new Shawn Michaels. And again, there's detailed images for all these figures up at Toy News International. If you want to get better looks at these figures, head over there and check out that story. Okay, and before we jump into the Hasbro reveals from this weekend's conventions, let's open up this package. It just arrived today, and I know what's in it because I ordered it.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
So it's the new Marvel Select Avengers Endgame Thanos figure. So I talked about this briefly in a previous news video a couple weeks ago. Images of this figure, as well as a Captain Marvel figure, which I did not get. I didn't think the Captain Marvel, based on images that I'd seen, looked very good, so I passed on that one. But I did go on and pick this one up. I wanted to review it, so a review for this will be coming this week, probably tomorrow. Please do check that out. But this is based, again, on Thanos, basically from Avengers Endgame. He does not really have an accurate gauntlet. He's got more of a Thanos-type gauntlet than the Iron Man power gauntlet. But, you know, he's wearing the armor. He's got a double-bladed weapon, though it doesn't 100% look like the weapon he had in the movie. And helmet doesn't look removable or anything. But figure, these started showing up on eBay. These are going to be sold as Disney Store exclusives. I'm sure it'll be available on the Disney website at some point. The catalog, it originally said December as the release date for these. I don't know, you know, being they're already showing up, I don't know if it's going to take that long for them actually to hit stores. But definitely, you know, in the next month or so, I would say you should be able to get this if you want to. And like I said, I will be reviewing it this week, and I do hope you check that out. Okay, so let's get into the reveals from this weekend. So starting with Power Rangers, as expected, they announced the full lineup for their fourth wave of Lightning Collection, 6-inch Lightning Collection figures. So last week, we had seen a tease for the wave, the blue Zeo Ranger figure that Hasbro announced. And then this week, we saw the remaining figures. Now, to many surprise, there was only 3 figures in this wave. It is only a 3-figure wave as opposed to 4 like we had been seeing. And even more surprising that it's 3 figures as opposed to 4 is this wave is not including the yellow Power Ranger, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. So there had been a listing that had shown up on the Walmart website a week or so ago. And because of that, everyone was expecting the yellow, or everyone who was following the line that closely, that is, was expecting the yellow Mighty Morphin Power Ranger to be included in this wave. And in fact, for whatever reason, it was not. It's just a 3-figure wave. The 3 figures are the Zeo Blue Ranger figure, again, that we had seen last week. And then we're also getting, for Beast Morphers, the Cyber Villain Blaze figure. So, you know, that's Hasbro's current show. And so I'm surprised I actually haven't been doing more Beast Morphers, but definitely doing Blaze. And then also the SPD Red Ranger figure. So all of these, you know, I think are cool if you're, I mean, I'm not huge into Power Rangers, but like the SPD Red Ranger seems like was kind of a surprise for folks. I think that was kind of a cool one. And then even the Zeo Ranger. Now, again, the Yellow Ranger, I don't know what happened to that. Again, it was originally listed in Walmart's system, obviously. But, you know, those can change a lot of times. They do actually change. That's why, you know, some people like to look into those store listings and store computers and then come out like it's fact. And in fact, it's not, because as you can see here, you know, those things can change. I would guess that the Yellow Ranger will, in fact, eventually be released. I don't know if it was held back for the next wave or possibly maybe even a store exclusive. I don't know. I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe there was actually listings for the 5th wave on the Walmart website as well. But being the Yellow Ranger didn't pan out for the 4th wave, you know, I'd probably take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, I wanted to share these new official images that were released by Hasbro for the 4th wave, and these will be out later this year. Now these, you know, I talked about this briefly last news video, where the price on these are going up. Starting with this wave, the Lightning Collection is now going to start, the suggested retail price is now going to be $21.49 as opposed to $19.99. And I do expect that that price increase is going to affect not just the Lightning Collection, but other lines like Marvel Legends and Black Series sometime next year. Now, the waves that have been announced here recently, they're still being listed with the $19.99 price tag. So, but those I would expect will actually start hitting shelves by the end of this year. Whereas this wave, I believe, is not going to actually be on shelf until next year, which is why they have the higher price point. Now, on Star Wars, so on Friday, we had a few new Black Series figures for the prequel announced. I told you about these, the Kit Fisto and the Plo Koon figures. So on Saturday, they announced 2 more additional prequel figures. So one was one that many people were hoping for.
Count Dooku.
I've become more powerful than any Jedi.
Count Dooku. And definitely that one is looking pretty cool. Face likeness is looking dead on. I would say it's better looking than the SH Figuarts version, and the cape looks better too, in my opinion. Now, one thing that seems to be missing, at least in these images, is there's no lightning effect hand. Hopefully, maybe that is something Hasbro will include. I guess worst case, if they don't, we can always take one of the lightning hands from the recent Emperor Palpatine figure and give it to Dooku. It'd probably fit in there. But it would be nice if Hasbro actually included it. But otherwise, I think this is a very nice looking figure. And if you've been waiting for a Black Series Dooku figure, I think you'll definitely want to get this one. And is up for pre-order now. Places like Big Bad Toy Store do have these figures up for pre-order. And then this second figure they revealed on Saturday, to me is a little disappointing. It's another battle droid. It's the B1 Geonosis battle droid, which has the darker brown color. So essentially it's just a repaint of the previous battle droid they just released. So that one, again, to me is kind of disappointing. I mean, I guess if you're wanting to army build battle droids, it's kind of cool. But definitely I was hoping for something like a destroyer droid or something along those lines, not just another battle droid. Now, for those of you who collect the Black Series FX lightsaber replicas, they announced 2 new lightsabers this weekend. So the one they announced on Friday was a lightsaber for Ventress, the character from the Clone Wars animated series, the female Sith-like character. She has actually 2 of the lightsabers, so if you want both of them, you'd have to buy it twice. But it's got the curved handle. When I originally saw the initial slides, which were a little bit blurry, I thought it was actually Dooku's lightsaber, but it's not. It's actually Ventress's lightsaber, and like I said, she has 2 of them. It has the curved handle and everything. I mean, Dooku trained her how to be. If you watch the Clone Wars cartoon and everything, Dooku actually kind of trained her and such. So, but kind of cool they're doing that one. And then also they announced a Kit Fisto lightsaber. So with the green blade and such. So that's another one, not really expecting them to do for the FX. It makes you wonder if they're going to end up doing everybody's lightsaber, probably. And then for Vintage Collection, on Friday, they announced that they were doing a new updated Clone Trooper figure with removable helmet. And then a few other figures that look like are primarily just reissues. So Bespin Luke Skywalker, a Bespin Han Solo, C-3PO, and General Lando Calrissian from Return of the Jedi. So they're all getting the Vintage Collection treatment. But again, I believe those latter ones, not the Clone Trooper, but the others were actually just reissues that they're putting on Vintage Collection card backs. And then on Saturday, they announced a few additional figures. So they announced a Remnant Stormtrooper figure, a Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker figure, which is kind of interesting, a Darth Maul figure, which looks like basically is an Episode 1 Darth Maul, Wicket the Ewok, and then General Kenobi in his clone armor. So the Anakin and General Kenobi on Vintage Collection cardback should be interesting to see. And then finally from Marvel Legends, so on Friday, I told you how there was a new comic book based Crossbones figure announced. And getting a better look at that figure since I last talked about it, it looks like that figure is going to be using the Hyperion mold. So I know some people were kind of upset about that. It doesn't bother me that much. I don't have any serious issues with the Hyperion mold, but I know some people don't like the upper torso on that figure. And then also announced...
And lo, he leveled our city and laid waste our fields, Lord of Destruction, the Invincible One.
Do you not realize I am immortal?
Age of Apocalypse line, Sunfire and Wildchild. Now, the Crossbones, while Hasbro has not specifically said, is likely going to be part of the next Black Widow themed wave that's going to tie into the movie. So that goes along with the Spy Master and the comic book based Winter Soldier figures that we saw last weekend. Those are probably the 3 comic book based figures for the wave. The remaining figures, possibly, I guess there's maybe one more. It's probably going to be a 7-figure wave. So one more could maybe be, there could be one more regular comic book based figure, or there could be the Build-A-Figure could be comic book based. I don't know, but probably the others are going to be movie based. The Build-A-Figure might be movie based as well, though, at least based on what little we've seen for the movie so far. I'm not really, nothing's coming to mind what could be a good Build-A-Figure for the movie. But so I'm thinking probably that's going to end up being comic book based. But if there is a 7th figure in the wave, then that could be, well, it could be it could be 4 movie figures and 3 comic figures, or it could be 3 movie figures and 4 comic figures. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And again, it's not even officially confirmed that those 3 figures are going to be part of the Black Widow wave, but I feel pretty confident that that will be the case. Now, for the Age of Apocalypse wave, so this wave was first announced back during San Diego Comic-Con. So with this line, this line is essentially going to be celebrating the 25th anniversary of that storyline. And, they're dedicating an entire X-Men wave to it. It's possible they could do more waves, but I kind of feel like for a story like this, they're probably only going to do 1 wave. So I don't know that for sure, but that's just kind of my feeling. But on Saturday, they announced the remaining regular figures for the wave. So we now know all the regular figures for the Age of Apocalypse wave, and I'll go over all of them for you just in case you weren't following this weekend. So that wave is going to include Weapon X, which is Wolverine, and that one was announced at San Diego, along with Morph. Morph first appeared in the X-Men animated series, but this was kind of a different, this was really his first appearance in the comics and was not really the same character that we know of from the animated series. But we're getting Morph, the Age of Apocalypse version of Morph. We're getting Sunfire, which is, had a different look in this, from his original look and everything. And Hasbro's actually done this version of Sunfire. I think it was Hasbro, that's done this version of Sunfire before, but we're getting an updated version of him. We're getting Nathan Summers, which is Cable, essentially Cable, like I said. And then also the 2 new figures announced on Saturday were Jean Grey, an Age of Apocalypse version of Jean Grey, which has really short red hair and everything. And then the final figure that was announced for the wave was Dark Beast. So Beast essentially with gray fur as opposed to blue fur. And Beast was a character that actually, Dark Beast, I should say, was a character that actually managed to escape the Age of Apocalypse timeline when it ceased to being and entered the regular Marvel universe. There were a couple other characters that did that as well. Sugarman and Holocaust, also known as Nemesis, were other characters that made that. And they've actually done, Hasbro did do a Build-A-Figure back when they first got the license for the Nemesis, which was really cool. It was actually a pretty good figure, even, one of the few good figures back then when they started out with the license. And it would be a cool Build-A-Figure for this wave. But again, since they have done it, you have to wonder if they will do that. I still think it's going to be Apocalypse. I know some people think it's going to be Sabretooth, and I do think there's a strong possibility that it could be Sabretooth just because we have Wild Child in the wave. And, I talked about this before. Wild Child and Sabretooth basically were hand in hand in the Apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse story. Wild Child was always seen riding on the shoulder of Sabretooth, and you even see the chain that Sabretooth would hold with Wild Child on that Wild Child figure. So that's led a lot of people to think that the Build-A-Figure will be Sabretooth. I don't really consider Sabretooth to be the size to warrant a Build-A-Figure, but we saw with the Demo Goblin that size is not always a criteria to be a Build-A-Figure. So it's certainly possible, I think, that they could make Sabretooth a Build-A-Figure for this wave. I do find it hard to believe that they're going to give us Wild Child and not Sabretooth. Though Toy Biz actually did a Sabretooth version, the Age of Apocalypse version of Sabretooth. So, you could always use that for your Sabretooth if we don't get an updated Marvel Legend version. And then, other names that have been thrown around. I mean, again, the Holocaust / Nemesis character would be a really awesome, you know, translucent type figure, but being that Hasbro's already done one, you know, it makes him seem less likely. Colossus was a character. He had a very different look in the books. Mr. Sinister, you know, a larger size character. But both of those, I mean, you know, the previous, you know, modern versions of those figures were not Build-A-Figures, so you wouldn't think they'd make those characters a Build-A-Figure for this wave. And then, like I said, Apocalypse. Oh, and one other that seems to be a popular choice is Sugar Man, which was this big head with 4 arms and 2 legs. He's very grotesque looking. And again, he was a character that actually made the jump from the Age of Apocalypse universe timeline to the regular Marvel Universe timeline. And so, you know, he's a possibility as well. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, who do you want to see the Build-A-Figure for this wave? Do you even care about this wave? You know, that's another interesting question. You know, this is kind of a new thing that Hasbro's doing, dedicating an entire wave to a specific storyline. I'm not sure they've ever done that before in the Marvel Legend line. So, you know, is this something you like? I know I've seen mixed results. I've seen some people who are very excited, and then I've seen other people that are like, yeah, I'm not going to get these. I'm not even really familiar with the storyline. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this does. But would you like to see Hasbro do more waves like this that are specifically the entire wave is tying into some type of specific storyline or something along those lines? Let me know in the comments section below. Okay, so that's it for today's news. Now, if you've been watching the channel at all recently, which I feel like has maybe gotten harder and harder, as I feel like YouTube has not been notifying a lot of people when I upload new videos. But just by chance, if you have, you've probably noticed that I have been trying to kind of spruce up the channel a bit, make some changes. You know, I've heard your guys' input. You want to be entertained more, not just have straight up reviews, not just have straight up news. So I'm trying to incorporate that some. You know, if you caught my last, you know, well, let me give you a little preview just in case you haven't seen like my last couple reviews of what you've been missing.
Sub-Zero. Fight.
But I pity the fool.
Come on! Get your hand off!
Fatality.
So you can see, you know, I kind of stolen a page from Shartimus Prime's playbook with the stop motion. I got that Peely figure, which is part of the McFarlane Toys Fortnite. Or, you know, when it was first announced, I thought it was a hilarious figure. So I thought, you know, it's a fun figure to kind of you know, play around with in these little skits and stuff. I can't guarantee that I can do that in every video. Those things take a long time. You know, the one in my Mortal Kombat video, you know, that I did, that took almost the entire day to do. It doesn't seem like it. You know, they last a minute, 2 at tops, but, you know, it takes a long time to really kind of put it together and stuff. So, you know, hats off to people like Shartimus that does that in almost all their videos, you know, but being that videos are not the only thing I do, you know, I can't guarantee I'm always going to be able to do stuff, but I am trying to, you know, liven the channel up more, make it more entertaining. So if you haven't been watching or you kind of lost interest recently, you know, hopefully, you know, I can pull you back in, at least until, you know, January and the toy apocalypse comes and YouTube kills all the toy channels. You know, we'll try and have some fun. But, you know, anyway, you know, share your thoughts on everything I talked about today. I'd love to hear them. You know, I've been trying to respond to more and more comments in the videos as well. So that's something else I've been trying to do more regularly. So, you know, let me know in the comments section below your thoughts and like the video if you're so inclined. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to alert it every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News Message Boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.